So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Evening, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. And first and foremost, I must apologise. There's gremlins in the system there, and for whatever reason, there was no sound coming from our intro. But we got there in the end, and you can't hire good help these days, whatever else you want to throw at it. But I hired myself because it was me who did the intro, so I'm going to blame myself. Anyway, Paddy's back from Morocco. Thanks be to Jesus. Paddy, talk to us. I thought you'd have a better time.
It's not bad.
No, it's not bad. Don't get me wrong. It's better.
It pastes the Irish skin. Like, what do you expect? It's going to just glow for a couple of days and then wear off. That's what it does.
Yeah. But you're not really a redhead. I thought you'd take the sun more. You know, you're not a true Irish skin.
It's all right. It's not too bad. Maybe it's just the lighting in the room. It's okay.
Yeah,
I'm relaxed anyway, and I'm full of Casablanca beer and anything I could grab in the all-inclusive. So I've a lot of pounds to shed now over the coming weeks, but we'll get there.
Yeah, there's a good couple of us in that bucket. We didn't have to go to Marrakesh for that. I'll tell you, we certainly did not. But look, we could talk about Marrakesh for the next half hour, but because in case anybody in the podcast doesn't know, when I retire, I'm going to buy a riad in Marrakesh, and I'm going to retire and I'm going to live the rest of my life out there. I absolutely fucking love the place. I've only been there once, but I absolutely loved it. I was treated like a king over there, so I'm definitely on my way back. But let's talk more.
I was in a taxi for 10 minutes and I text you to tell you that you were on your own. It was my first and last trip there.
Driving is a bit wild over there. All right, yeah, it's we were in a taxi as well coming back from the airport. The next thing, all of a sudden, we felt boom, and the fella who was driving the taxi got out, just ate the fella behind, and then hopped back into the taxi and kept on driving and went, I don't own a car anyway. That's exactly what he said. Just kept on driving. The back of I was like going, my bags are in the boot of the car. Anything could have happened. Like, are they still there? Like, it's some whack. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's certainly neither here nor there. We're here to talk anyway about West Ham. And West Ham United obviously come to Villa Park at the weekend. The team who have no points, no goals, and all the hope in the world. And it sounds mad to say that, but they have no points, no goals, and are probably thinking that they're favourites for this game at the weekend. Although I did see that some betting apps have them at 3-1 to win at the weekend. So
it didn't last long. I think every Villa fan in the world backed them with 3-1 the other day when it came out.
Yes, it's well. Look, I'm actually a bit more optimistic than most about this game. I was on the Villa View earlier on today. Some of you may have seen me already. Your second dose of Neil today. I was in the Villa View earlier on with Dan Bardell, and we were talking about it. And I'm like, for all the I'm not going to call it negativity because negativity makes it sound like that it's unwarranted negativity. I don't know why I always get that feeling, but for all the criticism that Aston Villa have taken over the start to the season, essentially, I think a lot of it is warranted, and I think that's okay. But at the same time, when the reality bites is that we do have some really good footballers, and we have as many good footballers as West Ham do when you go down player for player. And I think what West Ham do is they utilize their footballers better. I think that's where we are at this moment in time. But styles make fights, and we're going to get to Stato corner in a moment. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's a tough read, but it's factual stuff, and it has to come a time whereby the worm has to turn when you're playing against West Ham United. And I don't know why, but like, we should be able to beat this West Ham team at the weekend. We should be able to.
Well, as negative as I'm feeling, I agree with everything you just said there, and that's simply because we just haven't got a tune out of the players that we have at our disposal. At some point, this is going to happen. So why not let it happen on Sunday? I'm going to say again, I'm a lot more negative and worried about it than you are, because they've got big brutes of players
This is it.
that just boss the game, and they don't even have to play real technical football. They just have to boss the game in the back six, let's call it, and win the battle up front. So at the moment, they're not winning that battle. I think there's a lot of teams wise to them, and they've had a rough start to the season. But I'm sure every podcast has said it. When you're in the shit, who do you want to rock up to? And that's Aston Villa. If we just have a habit of letting this happen, and I hope to God that we can go and get a positive result at the weekend and heap the pressure on David Moyes and take it a bit off Steven Gerrard, and something we can build on.
And that's the thing. I think both sets of teams have that mindset for this weekend. Like I genuinely like I know this sounds a bit silly to say, but I genuinely believe that Aston Villa are gearing up to go and win this game today, win this game at the weekend. And why wouldn't they? Because they know that they've got, like, we know we've got good players. The squad knows there are good players there, but they know that they aren't getting a tune out of this team. And look, as I say, we can point the finger about it. We've done it in the Crystal Palace. We literally pointed the finger at anybody with a pulse in around Villa Park, I think, after the Crystal Palace game, namely at the man in the dugout. And I think that's fair enough to do if we do it with context. And at that point in time, and even to this day now, it was fair to point the finger at him because there was no in-game management, there was no in-game tactics, there was no in-game changes, there's nothing within the game. And you actually, I listened back to our podcast because I felt that I don't like being angry. I don't like being angry because I may not come across it, but when I get angry, I kind of get a small bit out of control, and I say stuff I don't mean, and I sometimes can get really vicious when I get angry, and I don't like it. And I listened back to the podcast and I went, damn it. Like, because I just, sometimes I don't even remember what I said, but I could have said the most vicious thing. And I listened back to the podcast and I went, actually, Paddy hit the nail on the head. That we look like a team that are coached to play for the first 10 minutes, but in-game tactics don't. There isn't an effect from any in-game changes that are made. And that's it. That's the way it's been since January of this year. In-game tactics haven't been consistently effective within the game, whereas other team managers rock up and that's what happens. But I think against West Ham, you're pissing against the wall if you think you're going to be able to change the game in tactics, because they're just such a difficult team to break down. I think you need to stick to the tactic almost from day one, but you have to look after them.
And sometimes it's not sticking to the tactic that has cost us.
Yes.
If you go back 2 weeks to when we played Everton, when things were shuffled about, we fell apart. Yes. We look at the last day of the season against Man City, took off Coutinho, we fell apart. We invited them onto us. Yeah. All of that, and I'm glad you agree with me finally.
Well, but it is like that. That's always been the case, I think. You know, but
it is. It's definitely like I can spot that a mile away. Even going back to that game against Southampton or Norwich that we went to, wasn't it? Norwich. The minute he shuffled the pack, we looked average instead of just continuing the game and seeing the game out. You know, so there's lots of games where he's done that, even when we've won the game, and just an inability to see it out properly. And just, you know, that last 10 minutes against Everton is case in point. We could have very easily capitulated and it been like Wolves last year when Dean Smith started his bad run. So, look, it shouldn't be the case with what we have at our disposal at the moment. If we shuffle the pack and go like for like when we're winning the game, it shouldn't change. But it has changed. And I can't put my finger on what he's doing wrong to change that.
There's a comment in here from Christopher Gonzalez. Christopher Gonzalez is one of my favorite contributors to the podcast. I keep calling it the podcast, the voicemail podcast. So Christopher, thank you so much. But I do take umbrage at you casting negative aspersions on my beloved Cleveland Browns at the very end of this one. Footballing fans are obsessed with fantastic stats about how players from 15 years ago performed. Time to shake that stink off us. We aren't the effing Browns. I take umbrage at that. The Browns work very hard to be shit. And us Browns fans we're proud of how bad we can be. But
But
no,
you
we
see,
definitely are not the
this,
Browns.
this is what makes me and you different, Neil, and probably why people tune in, because you love all the stats, you love all the analytics and everything, and I just talk about football as I see it. I'm probably a little bit more old school than you, and maybe that's why we have a good mix of people coming in to watch us. So I don't know, but I look at the game from a distance, where you would look at it meticulously and go through every fundamental detail, which is fair enough too. You need someone like that. And when I was managing a team, I had a guy that did that for me. Sometimes I took it on board, sometimes I didn't. That's just the way it was.
So
And
you're exactly like Stephen Gerrard. So you mean to say you manage a team like Stephen Gerrard does?
no, I manage a team.
That's what
I
I heard,
manage
Paddy.
I manage a team like Jose Mourinho.
Yeah. Sure you do. Why? Who was your Ricardo Carvalho? So who's the fella that got you out of jail more times than not? Yeah.
Well, there was a
Um.
guy that used to coach with me, and he'd whisper something in my ear, and I would say, "Yeah, that makes complete sense." So we'd make the change, and it worked. And
Yeah.
that was just how it works. And it
And
it takes a little bit of both, but I don't know what's going on at the moment. It wasn't exactly uh, roses with Mick Beale there. It's not exactly roses with Ian Critchley there. We still don't, or Neil Critchley. He's seen so little of him, I've forgotten his name. So who knows where we're at? Who knows where the engine room is in that coaching ticket at the moment? So we just need to see something of I don't know, an identity. I still don't know what our identity is. I still don't know what his preferred setup is. I know what mine would be. I know where I'd change it, and we do it every week in the team sheet tantrum. But look, he gets it right from the start. It just needs to go. I feel our tactics are right starting out the game, but it doesn't work with the changes that are made in game.
um. And look, I don't think there's going to be any Villa fan that's going to be able to disagree with that and come up with a valid reason as why that's disagreeable. And look, I'm Mr. Positive 99 times out of 100. And look, sometimes you got to sit back and you got to call the spade a shovel, and you got to say, look, that's what's happening on the field. But the thing that always brings me back to my core center of, listen, we can go out and win this game, is that we have very, very good players on our football team. And that's fair enough to be like, that's fair enough to say. And there shouldn't be a lot of people who are turning around and yes, they're not playing well, but this is the thing. It's about getting them playing well. At the moment, West Ham's players aren't playing well, but they will click at some stage. And we're taking so long to click. That's the frustrating point for Aston Villa. And we may never click under Stephen Gerrard. It might be somebody else who comes in and gets this team to click. But we talk an awful lot about or see an awful lot of talk on social media about recruitment and about this, and we need to bring someone in. And yes, we will. And I'm very, very positive about what's going to happen in the transfer market between now and next Thursday. I really am. And I think that there's going to be a centre back. And look, if it is Jan Bednarek, there are a lot of positives to Jan Bednarek's team, Jan Bednarek's play. There's a lot of people who read what Southampton fans think of him. I'm not going to say Southampton fans are right. I'm not going to say they're wrong, but there's context to everything with regards to this. And that's where the stats come in. That's where watching the football match comes in as well. We're not doing a podcast on him. I'm just using that as an example. The players will come in, players will leave before the end of the transfer window. And we just got to, the thing that's pissing everybody off is at the moment, we're hoping that what we do over the next 5 days gets it right. We'll get on to that. I've moved the goalpost, I think, with this conversation a small bit from what the core aspect of this is with regards to West Ham. But that's essentially the essence of the next 5 days are big, but the next 2 days are even bigger until we get West Ham out of the way. Let's just say we beat West Ham. We move on to 6 points. 6 points, 6 points will most likely have us comfortably in the top half of the table. But 6 points will have us
4 games.
well, after 4 games. But there's a lot of other teams out there that will be below us. I know we're going into shit canyon, but that's what we're talking. We can only win what game comes up against us. And West Ham at the weekend is not a very favourable one. I told the anecdote that on the Villa View earlier on, that when we played West Ham, I'm almost certain it was the West Ham at home game where Ben Johnson scored, Declan Rice scored, and I can't even remember who scored the last goal. But I was sitting inside in a neonatal with the day after my child was born, watching this on my iPad, and I just felt like I literally nearly asked for an epidural to get through because it was painful watching. It was disgrace, and it was the beginning of the end for Dean Smith, to be honest with you. And it was the day that Ashley Young came on. Now West Ham had so much luck in that game, and they won 3-0. What I'm trying to get at here, Paddy, is that on Sunday, I think it's going to be a lot more cagey and tighter affair than we're used to seeing from these teams, because they're not exactly hitting top form at the moment themselves.
Well, that's it. They're under pressure. They're like ourselves. Albeit they did get a good result last night. I watched half of it in the Europa League. And they even left Declan Rice at home. They were so far ahead from the first leg. So I don't think they're going to be particularly tired after the game last night. It wasn't exactly a raucous atmosphere in Denmark. So there's a lot of play for them. They might be physically tired from the travelling. Time will tell. But we're not making excuses already. I think they could just as easy roll us over as we could roll them over. I think this is going to be the one game over the next few weeks that's going to be nearly impossible to call.
Yeah. Like another thing I think that's kind of rising a lot of fans up over this is that they've bought a £50 million striker, and they're going to buy £50 million number 8, who would definitely fit in our team. And Paqueta. Now, obviously, he's not going to be available at the weekend, but they've got the German guy who, for some reason, I cannot pronounce his name. Carrere. I can't pronounce his name. Thilo Carrere. Anyway, blank on that one. They've signed him, and he's a very, very decent player as well. And I think it's just that they're probably looking to get a bounce from their signings, where we haven't gotten a bounce from our transfer signings at all, because we did them so early in the window, and people are kind of looking. They need that extra bounce from somewhere with regards to this game. And also, look, we know we're going in against the team. And actually, do you know what? I'm just going to play it now because we've got a Stato corner and we're going to go into it now. But we are going to have a game against the team whereby traditionally we don't perform very, very well. We don't perform very well against, and that brings us to our lovely feature from AVFC Stato Corner. There we go. The jingle stayed in for this week. So look, the funny thing is, sometimes the stats aren't in your favor, and there's feckin' nothing we can do about that. It's just a factual piece of information that there's some teams are going to be our bogey team and some teams won't. And for us specifically, West Ham are our bogey team. Now, I've got 3 slides here with 3 specific statistics. And the first one here is Aston Villa have won just one of their last 12 Premier League games against West Ham. They've drawn 5 and lost 6. And they're winless in their last 8 since a 1-0 win in May 2015. So to go into this game confident is a bit of a surprise for me anyway, for me to be so confident. But we have to bear this in mind, that history does repeat itself, unfortunately, and it has done over the last 12 games. Also, after the 2-1 win over Everton, Aston Villa are looking to win back-to-back home Premier League games within a single season for the first time since January 2021 under Dean Smith. And also, under Steven Gerrard, Villa have followed up each of their 4 previous Premier League victories at Villa Park with a defeat in their next home league fixture. So not only do we have the opposition against us with their very favourable record in their favour against us, we also don't really stack together home wins on top of each other. So from that point of view, it's definitely one to go into with some trepidation. But for some reason, I just feel like we can pull something out of the bag.
Well, the stats will tell you there's nothing to be confident about, and that's.
But you watch football. I'm the stats guy.
I know.
Just a Freaky Friday thing here. Just
football is telling me that not to be confident, let alone the stats. They're just set out better than us. They're solid. The team rarely changes. They mix it up top. The two sitting centre, the midfielders are excellent. The full backs is probably their weakest position defensively. Whether we can get at that or not now, I don't know. But or who they play at right back is a big question as well. So, look, there's a lot of answers and no questions. I just can't, for the life of me, see how we go about breaking these guys down. I'm hoping they play two up top. I'm hoping they keep one of those defensive midfielders occupied as a kind of third central defender, and have him run around after Ings or Watkins or whatever, whoever it is. And I think that's, in my view, that's how we go and get at them.
Yeah, I agree. Ryan Martin is another statistic. Did we know that West Ham are playing their 14th Sunday fixture in a row? I didn't know that.
Sure, we'll be saying that by the time the World Cup comes around.
Jesus, yeah. Oh, yeah. Heads up, everybody who listens to the podcast on a regular basis. It's going to be a lot of Sundays that I'm going to be. I don't know how I'm going to be able to do team sheet tantrums, specifically in the month of October coming up. But we'll find a way. We always find a way. That's my thing to worry about. So you guys don't be worrying about it. But that is a mad statistic. And I know, as Rex says, it's all about probably because of the Europa Conference, but still, that's a mad statistic to have there as well. Paddy, I suppose, look, listen, we're 22 minutes into the podcast and we've really just been kind of waffling a small bit. But like when we look at their specific threats and what they bring to the table, it still is, when you think about it, it still is brute force. Okay, they've got those three guys that sit behind the striker, and the Fornals, the Lanzinis, the Jared Bones, and all those. And yes, they do get involved, but it's Souček and Rice, it's Ogbonna, it's Kurt Zuma, it's Mikel Antonio. That's what's really made them tick over the years. And I suppose really what I'm getting at here is the fact that Mikel Antonio is not really the same striker as he has been this year and towards the end of last year. Has that been a massive effect on West Ham? And have they really just eked every bit of talent out of him?
Well, if you speak to a West Ham fan, that's what they seem to think has happened, that he's hit burnout stage and it's just not firing for him. But like, we could see a completely different player on Sunday. You just don't know what Mikel Antonio is going to turn up. He hasn't turned up as yet this season. They haven't scored a goal. Those three guys in behind him are capable of doing anything on their day as well, including scoring goals themselves. So, I think, and they could unleash Kamaka in there in his place.
I think he will start. Yeah, I think he's starting for sure.
So I think when they spend that kind of money, I think when you have a striker in there who's not firing, you throw him in there and you wake him up a little bit and hope that he'll fire back and look for his place back. And who knows, we could be seeing him coming on with 75 minutes on the clock and having an absolute stormer because he's pissed off. That's generally what happens when a striker is under pressure. But and then if he starts, we have to worry about Kamaka coming on as well whenever he chooses to unleash him. So there's a lot of play. Kufala's missing, as far as I know. He's
locked concussion
protocol, is it?
I think so.
Yeah. So that's why I said we may have an option to get at them on the wings. Hopefully that's the case that we can do it. But having said that, when we break down the wings, those two brutes in Souček and Rice can very easily come across and cover that area as well. So you could be talking about this one all day, but I can't see in my heart, I can't see how we're going to do this. I can't see how we're going to break them down. I think this is going to be a particularly nervy game for both teams, given the perilous situation that West Ham are in and the not much better off position that we're in. I think it's going to be very nervous, and we just got to be tight early, as tight as we can possibly be, and then try and hit them on the break. That's how I see the game going. But we have to defend set pieces really, really well. Yes. This is a team that can really punish you. When you think of those two centre halves and the two defensive midfielders, they could have a field day the way we've been defending corners and set pieces. So that's another worrying part of what's playing in my mind, that this isn't going to go well for us.
Well, Paddy, West Ham, there's no point in West Ham even showing up at the weekend. Do you know why? Because we have the positive affirmation. We have the confirmation bias that I've been looking for, that Aston Villa are going to win. We have clear-cut fact. And the reason we're going to win is because Aston Villa play West Ham on Sunday the 28th. And Villa have never lost a Premier League game on this day in history. We've played 5, we've won 4, we've drawn 1, and we've lost none. David Moyes, take the day off. No point. Absolutely no point. We're winning. I've decided. I've decided based on historical fact. So actually, here's a gas one. everybody who watches the podcast knows that, yes, I do like statistics, but there's one type of statistic that I don't fully buy into, and I don't know will I ever fully buy into, and it's called XG. It's like the crack cocaine to everybody under the age of 25 in the statistics markets at the moment. It's based on historical data. And that's the funny thing is, like, if I was to basically, when you talk about XG, it's like you're shouting out, you're going, well, we've never lost in this day, so that means we're going to win today. It's the same kind of thing. It has the same prevalence as well. But I'm not going to go off on an XG today. I still think it's a relevant statistic over the course of a season. But when someone turns around and puts up on YouTube or puts up on Twitter or whatever and says Villa have an XG of 0.00 in that first half, it literally means nothing, because yes, it means they had a shit half, but it doesn't mean anything in the greater context of their season. So
well, I remember the very last.
This does, though. This does, and that's why I love AVFC Stato, because it means that we've never lost on Sunday the 28th, and we're going to win it the weekend. So I'm a Villa fan now, and I reserve the right to be fickle.
The very last coaching conference I went on, this guy stood up and was asking a question about XG, and an ex-Premier League manager stood up and said, I reckon you wash your mouth out, because all you're talking about is the Loch Ness Monster, because neither of them really exist. So when I heard him say that, I thought, well, he's probably got a point there. But people buy into it, and I don't know why. Because a goal can come from anywhere. A goal can come from a flicked on kick out, the keeper is standing out of position. It's just, you can win a game 4-0 with an XG of 0.001 because they've scored 2 OGs and the ball's hit the back of someone's head and gone in.
It's why we play. It's why the game is played on grass and not on paper. But then again, as I say, look, it's a relevant statistic when you go back over a 38 game season. You look and you say this striker's XG was this. That's a very relevant statistic. So it's a very relevant statistic when you look at historical data after the fact, based on a large sample set. But what really gets me is 15 minutes into the game and someone posts up on Twitter and goes, Villa's XG is 0.00 already. Yeah, why didn't you just put up that Villa haven't had a shot yet in the game? Because that's essentially what you've said. So that's just the thing that annoys me about XG, is that it's anyway, we've gone mad.
And why is it not called EG?
Expected goals.
Sure, that's tech speak. It's not even English.
EG
like what
example. Now, why doesn't example start with an X?
So some mythical figure made up this with an X.
Yeah. No, look, as I say, it does. It does make sense. So, like, when you're scouting a striker, you should probably look at their XG to see what areas they get into. Do they get into good areas? Are they in goal scoring areas? Are they one of these players that are like Adriano or Hulk that blasts one in from 25 yards because they just have this natural talent? Or are they like a Jamie Vardy who's got a great XG because he gets into great positions and puts the ball in the back of the net? So it's very relevant when you're maybe scouting a striker or when you're looking at a team's performance over the course of the year. But as I say, 15-minute intervals, it just makes no sense. It really doesn't. Anyway, we're off topic massively. Paddy, how the hell over the course of this year do we expect ever to defend against brutish teams? Because we've come up against 2 already. I would say that Crystal Palace played the brute game with us with Czech Doucouré and Jeffrey Schlupp, and West Ham are going to just look at that. And obviously Bournemouth did it. Like, Bournemouth just basically came to park. They didn't even park the bus. They parked the whole fleet of them, and they got their 2 goals. What do you think that Steven Gerrard needs to do differently to be able to draw players out of position? Because they're 2 wily old foxes in Declan Rice and Souček there, and essentially that's the winning of the game for them if they are to win it.
Well, to be quite honest with you, Neil, it's Friday, it's 2 minutes past 10. He hasn't got enough time between now and Sunday to sort this out. It probably means a couple of other players, because I don't believe at the moment we have the colossal midfielder to come back in and sit in there. We don't have the big striker that you can put on the near post and head the short corners clear.
No, I'm not saying how do we emulate the way they play, but there's surely a way to beat a team like this. Like, Barcelona did it for years. Liverpool are doing it. Liverpool are doing it right now.
Well, we got to stop them getting corners for a start, and we stop giving away silly free kicks.
Yeah.
And stop giving away corners is easier said than done. Anytime somebody says that to me, I remember when Rory Delap used to take the throw-ins and people used to put them out for corners instead of throw-ins.
Yeah. I remember Arsene Wenger went down. Did he go to rant in a post match saying that before as well? He gave out to Colo Touré blasted one out for a throw, and they'd been told beforehand that he had to put it out for a corner because it was less dangerous. Yeah, Rory Delap's son actually gone to Stoke, and I wonder, Penny, for his thoughts. Michael O'Neill gets the boot yesterday, and looks like Alex Neil is coming in, so maybe they won't need to play with that. Although Liam Delap is a wonderful player, and I still hold out hope that the FAI will somehow snare him to come play for Ireland, but it doesn't look hopeful.
Apparently he can't, I was told.
Why?
Because Rory Delap played for Ireland because his grandfather did, and that doesn't apply to your great-grandfather, so I don't think he can qualify to play for Ireland.
But he's an Irish citizen.
He wasn't born in Ireland.
But his father's an Irish citizen.
He doesn't hold an Irish passport, as far as I know.
Rory Delap does, though.
Yeah. But he was born in England.
Have we any immigration lawyers here on the podcast?
Oh, I had this conversation over and over with somebody. We'll move on and talk about
it's all right. It's all right, Paddy. I'll find some Irish woman for Liam Delap to marry. It's grand. If we need him, if we can get him, we'll get him. That's what I'll say.
What he needs is Cascarino's grandmothers.
Yeah, one of them. Exactly. Lads, this is the least structured podcast I think we've ever done. But at least we're laughing. At least it's been.
We didn't even go in chronological order. The West Ham, I think, was supposed to be the last thing we spoke about.
Paddy did a rundown for this one for the first. I'd say it could be the first time we've done a rundown in about. Jesus, I'd say about 6 months. And
I was just making sure I hadn't missed something, and I needed to go back and have a look.
Yeah. Well, we park West Ham for a moment because we can't stay on topic with West Ham because I think there's a great thing there. It's the hope that kills you, and I'm trying to bring a bit of hope to the situation, but I keep on sidetracking myself anyway with everything else. So let's move on, Paddy, to something else. The stadium plans, something that I can talk about with a great degree of, I suppose, professional insight. You know, for stuff like that. I was in the architectural game, albeit conservation architectural technology previously. And I love it. I love the town planning aspect that they've brought to it. I love the fact that it's joined up infrastructural thinking within the cityscape of that inner city training base. I just fucking love it. I think it's fantastic. I like the design.
Yeah. Look, it keeps the old style Villa Park look about it, albeit it joins up the corners, as we know. We can't stop progress. If we have these 20,000 people sitting on a waiting list that are going to spend the money, we need to give them seats to put their bums on.
At least the hope of getting seats.
Well, we also need to do a bit of work on the pitch to encourage them to actually come, because Sunday is in danger of being the first game under Steven Gerrard, first home game under Steven Gerrard that won't sell out, which will tell a tale in itself. So I was onto the ticket office this morning, and they gave me that information and said it doesn't look like it will sell out, but it still could. So, you know, we've got to be wary of all these things. It's only 3 years ago we played in the Championship with the upper tier of the Trinity Road closed. There was nobody sitting in it. So, while I'm absolutely enthusiastic about the future, I'm still a little bit apprehensive. So while I looked at those plans yesterday, I got very, very excited. It looks absolutely amazing. I love the Villa Live aspect of it, where there's a kind of a conference arena that will be utilised outside match day, and there's just so much going for it. But the one thing that really warms the heart is that they did a wide shot with Villa Park almost in the background, and you could see the new training ground.
That's what I was talking about. And the fact that there was and they had the walkway, a straight line of sight almost towards the ground. And that's I'll be honest with you, from the planning aspect and from the overall development aspect, if you're a kid and you're from the inner city of Birmingham and you've aspirations of playing in Villa Park, what better way to have those aspirations than training in the shadow of it? It's all well and good. Bodymore Heath is fantastic. This is not shitting down on Bodymore Heath. It is a world-class facility where it is. And it will continue to be, and it will only get better. And the club have an ethos of improving that, because if you don't have good facilities, we won't breed good players. But the draw of having that and having that lit walkway or just looked beautiful. It looked like obviously it was just rendered to have a lighting plan along it, and the rest of it didn't. But you're there through the red brick buildings, looking up through the thoroughfare, and you hit that red brick of Villa Live, and you see the shadow of the new North Stand. And be honest, yes, the kids that are going to come, they're going to know about the whole thing. Their fathers might be in the whole thing. Their uncles might be in the whole thing. They might be in the whole thing themselves. But the new shiny North Stand, that's going to be something that people are going to be showing around. The historical side, yes, absolutely. But the new thing for the new generation is what they're going to see as well, looking up from that ground. And for me, fair play to them. Do you know what? I just wish that we went away and we won the Champions League in the next 5 or 10 years' time, and we go in and we buy Aston Hall, preserve Aston Hall, and use all the grounds, have all those grounds full with pitches, and let the city play football and get every decent footballer to play for Aston Villa, because it just looks so beautiful. Even when you look past it, you see Aston Hall there. It's just it has so much potential in an area that needs regeneration, and it will get you regeneration because of it. So hats off to the club with regards to what their thought process is for phase 1. And remember, phase 1 of the redevelopment of Villa Park.
Yeah.
So,
and there's a lot more space there as well, where the old academy building, as they called it, which is an indoor, which they on match day they have like a fan zone for kids. So there's a lot to consider in what they've done. I'm looking forward to seeing it take shape over the next few years. But I think the most important thing is that we play the football on the pitch that encourages people to come. And that is always in the back of my mind. It absolutely broke my heart to see go through the whole championship season, apart from the Birmingham City game, that they opened the upper tier of the Trinity Road. So, we're only one bad manager away from that happening again, and that worries me. So, with confidence that we can turn this around and become challengers for European football, it will be something to behold in the future.
Paddy, did you wash your Villa top at the wrong temperature? The crest looks all warped.
Yeah, it came out of the wash, and I was going, oh, where's I had something to put on because I was running a bit late, and it's kind of warped in the middle. Anyway, an iron will sort it out. But thank you very much in your head, man.
Thank you very much, actually. Yes, sorry. Thank you very much in your head change, man, for that. I really appreciate the super chat. Really appreciate that. But guys, I think I might be the reason we're losing. It was pointed out to me recently that apparently during losing streaks last year, I used to do the team sheet tantrums without wearing a jersey. And more often than not, when I wore a jersey, we won or got a favourable result. Now, I didn't take too much thought into it at the time. I went, great, yeah, fantastic. It's definitely my fault. But I didn't wear a jersey for the Bournemouth game. I did for the Everton game. And I didn't do it for the Crystal Palace game. So I must apologise on behalf of Villa fans all around the world and to Stephen Gerrard. It's definitely my fault. Based on his historical the XWs of when I wear a shirt and where I don't. So the expected wins of when I wear a Villa shirt for the team sheet tantrums and when I don't is way higher based on statistics and facts. So ipso facto, it staring me in the face.
So the statistics will tell us that if you wear a shirt on the podcast for the team sheet tantrum for the rest of the season, we're going to win the league.
It's that simple. So sometimes you can drive yourself mad thinking about, oh, we need to do all this, we need to spend all this money, and sometimes it's just staring you in the face.
So Sunday's the test, Neil. You wear your shirt on Sunday. We all put a little bet on, bet sensibly, and we get 3 points.
We get 3 points, and we all donate it to
AVFC Foundation
for other people who. Oh, by the way, actually, guys, talking about Villa shirts, actually, and this wasn't the prescribed segue, we are giving away a Villa shirt. Go to our Twitter page if you haven't already seen our Twitter page. If you're not on Twitter, that's where we do most of our work. Go to our Twitter page. You'll find it. We have all you need to do is retweet it, like our follow us on Twitter. Follow Addicted to Villa, who's Fintan Hand, really good guy, good Irish man. Who does some great Villa work as well. And we will be giving away a Villa jersey on the Team Sheet Tantrum on Sunday. An Aston Villa jersey of your choice, home, away, or third kit. Doesn't matter. And what was that?
Alexa just said, "I'd rather you didn't."
I'd rather you didn't. Yeah, fuck off, Alexa. So we're going to be giving away a shirt at the weekend, and yeah. So if you haven't entered that, please do. And I think we've got about 500 entries on it at the moment. So it's it's for a bit of crack anyway to try and lift the mood. Anyway, on towards this. Paddy, we never spoke about Bolton. In 18 words or less, how was your views on Bolton, on the Bolton game?
Started terribly. Not a great performance defensively in the first half. Bolton got tired, ran away with it in the second half. Did I do it in 18 words? Just about
it. Yeah. Referee was awful. Villa unbelievably comfortable. Bolton goal was a foul.
Yeah.
That's
a referee named Mr. Kitchen is a bit weird, isn't it?
Throw the kitchen sink at it. I know a couple of people who've got the surname Kitchen. Kitchens, actually. Kitchens.
All right.
Not kitchen. Kitchens. But yeah, look, as I said, this has been the most disjointed podcast for anybody who's listening to this on Spotify tomorrow. You won't have a clue what's going on. Because,
sure, I hope they have a laugh, especially at that little episode that just happened there behind me. That was a bit weird.
Yeah, Alexa. Before I do go, and I'll do this again in the Team Sheet Tantrum because I've just realized he asked me to do it in the Team Sheet Tantrum. I see him in the chat there today. Michael Huggins' nephew is over for his first game in Villa Park on Sunday against West Ham. He's from Nevis in the West Indies. I think it's to do with his 13th birthday. His name is, it's either Malachy or Malachi. I apologize. In Ireland, we pronounce it Malachy. So I apologize if it's Malachi, but his name is Malachi, and he's coming to his very, very first ever Aston Villa game. So I hope he's the lucky charm, and we have a better performance than we have had in recent years. And fair play to him, as I say. It'll be great occasion for him over from Nevis in the West Indies. And what an occasion, what a great day for him. And I saw that Ad, one of our most loyal stream visitors as well, said that he is going to be taking his son to his first ever game at the weekend as well. Or is it, I'm taking my son to my first ever game at Villa Park. He's going to be the lucky star for us. Well, I absolutely hope so. And as I say, no matter how bad we get, no matter how much we lose, no matter how many divisions we go down, which will obviously never happen because we're Aston Villa and we win when we want, always bring your kids. Always bring them along.
Absolutely.
Always do. Yeah. You have to do it.
Well, while we're giving shout outs, Neil, a big shout out to the Hessian family from Galway originally and now living in Limerick and Birmingham, who we met when we were over. They're having a big family reunion on Saturday, so they can all go to Villa on Sunday. So to Paddy and Owen, who we know the best, have a great weekend and enjoy your Hessian reunion, and good luck at the match on Sunday.
Excellent. Well, guys, we're going to leave it at that. I suppose it's probably been no secret that I had one or two drinks before coming on the podcast, but ever the professional, I will plow through it anyway. But it's I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. We will be back again on Sunday with a Team Sheet Tantrum. 10 minutes to 1. Weird time to be on, but 10 minutes to 1 we'll do a Team Sheet Tantrum, and we'll be back with a post-match afterwards. So please join us. We would absolutely be thrilled. We will be giving away that shirt in the Team Sheet Tantrum at 12:50. And I know there's people who aren't on Twitter. Don't worry. We actually have a couple of giveaways coming up soon, so stay tuned for those. But we are giving away a shirt, as I say, this weekend to one lucky winner. So please get involved in that if you can. Also the podcast. I did it again. The podcast. I might just crack on at the podcast because I don't know why I've got a mental block on it. But the voicemail podcast on speakpipe.com/for the Love of Paul McGrath pod. If after the game you've got any strong feelings, or before the game you've got any strong feelings or anything, we will be doing our voicemail podcast on Monday and we would love your voicemails for that. And two other things. I don't have anything for this. On our Twitter page, if you are thinking about getting the third shirt, and we never talked about it today, I actually really like it. If you're thinking about getting the third shirt or any shirts or any Aston Villa merchandise, we do have an affiliate link, and any purchases from that goes a long way to helping us here on the podcast. We would really appreciate if you consider purchasing from our link. We don't have any discounts or anything yet, but keep an eye out. They are on the way. They are on the way for sure. Actually, there is a discount at the moment, free delivery in the UK if you are in the UK. But if you feel like helping out the podcast and you're looking to buy any Aston Villa gear from the Villa store, we do have an affiliate link. And look, as I say, we'd appreciate it if you consider buying through that link. It would really help us out to be able to keep the podcast running is essentially it. So thank you so much, everybody, for your time and your patience with us. We will be back on Sunday with a team sheet tantrum, and I always look forward to doing those, and I'm going to look forward to even more when we make somebody's day. And I hope you all join us. So
and
until then,
wear your jersey.
And I will wear my jersey. Yeah, I will wear my jersey, for sure, and that will guarantee a win. So until Sunday, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy, and remember, as always, up the Villa.
Up the Villa.